Novelty is why summer felt so long as a kid. When I was a kid, a single summer felt like it lasted a decade. I could wake up in June. By the time I looked up, it was somehow only the middle of July. There was still this entire ocean of time stretched out in front of me. I remember specific afternoons, not months, not weeks, individual afternoons. The time we found a dead fish in the creek, poked at it with a stick for what felt like an hour. The day my friend got a new bike, we took turns riding it down the steepest hill in the neighborhood until one of us ate it eventually. A random Tuesday where nothing happened except it rained. We sat on our porch and made a game with rules that made no sense. I couldn't tell you a single specific thing that happened in the last 3 weeks of my adult life. I'm serious. If you asked me to describe last Wednesday, I would have to check my phone, look at my calendar, maybe scroll my camera roll for evidence that the day even occurred. And that terrifies me a little bit, because the days are still happening. I'm still alive for all of them. They're just not landing. They're sliding off me like water off a raincoat, and at the end of the month, I look up and I genuinely can't account for the last 30 days of my life. So, I started thinking about why. Why did summers as a kid feel like they went on forever? And why does an entire year now feel like it evaporates the second I turn my back on it? And the answer I kept landing on, the thing I can't stop thinking about, is novelty. New experiences stretch time, and adult life, by default, has almost none of them. Let me explain what I mean, because this is the whole video. When you're a kid, almost everything is happening to you for the first time. The first time you taste something, the first time you go somewhere, the first time you stay up past midnight, the first time you're allowed to walk to the store by yourself. Your brain is basically a brand new camera, and it is recording everything at maximum resolution because it doesn't know what's important yet. So it just saves all of it. Every day is dense with stuff your brain has not processed before, and so every day gets a huge amount of memory storage. When you look back at it, all the storage feels like time. A summer full of first times feels enormous because your brain filed away 1,000 distinct little moments. Now think about a normal adult week. You wake up at the same time, take the same route to the same place, you see the same faces, you eat one of the same 6 meals, come home, you sit on the same porch, you open the same 3 apps in the same order. You go to sleep in the same bed to do the exact same thing tomorrow. Your brain has seen all of this before. It's not new, so it doesn't bother saving it in detail. It just goes, yeah, another one of these, and files the entire week under a single blurry heading called Work Week, probably March. Nothing distinct went in, so nothing distinct comes out. That's the trade. That's why it feels fast. Your life isn't actually going faster. Your brain is just refusing to save it because you keep handling it the same footage. Here's the part that gets me. We did this to ourselves, and we mostly did it recently, because I want to compare 2 versions of being bored, and I think this is where it clicks. When I was a kid and I was bored, being bored was uncomfortable enough that I had to solve it by doing something. I'd go outside, I'd build something stupid, call a friend on the actual house phone and ask if they could come over. I'd climb a tree, join some random server, ride my bike somewhere. I wasn't technically supposed to. Boredom was a pressure that pushed me toward novelty because there was no other release valve. The only way out of boredom was through a new experience. Now when I'm bored, I don't do any of that. I pull out my phone, and the phone is genuinely incredible at making boredom go away without ever making me do anything new. I can scroll for an hour and feel entertained and feel like time passed and I feel like I did something, but nothing happened. Nothing got recorded. I watched 200 videos and I could not tell you a single one of them was about. It's novelty flavored nothing. It gives your brain a little hint of new, so you don't feel restless, but none of it is actually a first time experience for you. None of that is actually happening to your body in the real world, so none of it gets saved as a real memory. It's empty calories for your sense of time, and we're eating it constantly. This is why, and I really believe this, an adult can scroll for 2 hours and feel like it was 10 minutes, and a kid can spend 10 minutes doing something genuinely new and remember it for the rest of their life. Okay, before I go any further, I have to say the thing, because I don't want this to come across the wrong way. Some people's lives blur together not because they're lazy or to their phone, but because they are exhausted and stretched thin, doing everything they can just to keep the lights on. If you're working 2 jobs, or you're a new parent running on no sleep, or you're caretaking for someone and your days blur together because they're completely depleted, I'm not talking to you. Your problem isn't lack of novelty, it's a lack of margin, and I'm not going to sit here and pretend a do something new challenge fixes structural exhaustion. That's not fair, and that's not true. However, there's a huge number of people, and there's a very good chance you're one of them, whose days blur together for a much dumber reason. Not because you're no room in your life or nothing new, but because you have quietly stopped putting anything new into it. You have the 2 free hours, you have the Saturday, you have the $20. You're just spending all of it on the same handful of comfortable, repeatable, and visible activities that your brain has already stopped bothering to record. That is simply who this is for. And the fix, thankfully, is stupidly simple. Annoyingly simple, actually. You just have to do new things on purpose. That's it. That's the whole secret. It sounds too obvious to be worth a whole video, but I promise you the reason your months are vanishing is that you have outsourced every single one of them to your novelty needs to a screen, and that fakes it. You have stopped generating all real novelty in the physical world. And the beautiful thing is that new is an incredibly low bar. New does not mean expensive. It doesn't mean a plane ticket to another continent. It doesn't mean quitting your job to hike the Andes. Novelty is almost free, and that's what nobody tells you. Taking a different route from work is novel. Your brain will actually perk up a little bit because it can't autopilot. Going to a grocery store on the other side of town that you've never been to is also novel. Eating a food you've genuinely never tried? Not a new flavor of something you always get, but an actual food you've never put in your mouth. That's novel. And it costs like $4. Texting the person you always mean to hang out with and actually seeing them is novel. Going to your part of town you've somehow never walked in. Even though you've lived there for years, it's novel and it's free. Sitting on a different bench, reading a genre you've normally never touched, saying yes to the invite you'd normally flake on. None of this is impressive, but that's the point. It's not supposed to be impressive. It's supposed to be new. Because new is the thing that makes your brain wake up and go, oh, save this one. And when you start stacking up little saved moments, the week starts being one blurry heading and starts being a bunch of distinct days again. Time slows back down. Not because you found more of it, but because you finally started recording it. I want to tell you about the trip that made me realize all of this, because it's kind of embarrassing how small it was. A while back, some friends and I went on a trip, and it had all the stuff you're supposed to do. A nice viewpoint, the famous restaurant, the activity everyone posts a photo of. I could barely tell you anything about those parts. They're a smear. There was one afternoon where we got completely lost trying to find something, gave up, and ended up in a tiny town that wasn't on anybody's list. We ate a weird food, and we've never heard of the place. We got caught in rain. We had a dumb conversation with a stranger who had a very strong opinion about a local bridge. And that afternoon, the accidental, unplanned, never happened before afternoon, is the clearest memory I have of the entire trip. It is crystal clear, and I can still see it. The expensive planned, supposed to do it parts blurred, because on some level they were still kind of predictable. The town I'd never heard of stuck, because my brain had never seen anything like it before. Novelty is the thing that made my day permanent. Not money, not planning, just novelty. So here's the challenge, and it's the whole reason I made this. I want you to do one novel thing a week for 1 month. 4 weeks, 4 new experiences. That's the entire assignment. Not one new thing a day, because that's a lot and you'll quit by Wednesday. Just one per week. Something you have genuinely never done before. It can be tiny. It should probably be tiny, especially at first. Because the point is to prove to yourself that novelty is cheap and available and not scary. Week 1, keep it stupidly easy. Eat somewhere you've never eaten, or take a walk somewhere in your town you've never went. Zero pressure and basically free. There's no excuse not to. Week 2, make it slightly social or slightly uncomfortable. Go to a thing where you don't know everyone. A meetup, a class, event, whatever. A little bit of I don't fully know what's going on here is exactly the ingredient that makes it stick. Week 3, learn or try something small and a little barrier to entry. A cheap class, a borrowed instrument, a paddle in a court, a recipe you've never attempted, something where you'll be a little bad at it because you're bad at something new, and those things will stick in your brain. Week 4, go somewhere. Doesn't have to be far. A town an hour away, something you've never visited, a trail, part of the coast, random bus to a random place where you have no plan. Let the day be a little unprepared. Let yourself get a little lost. There's where the town you've never heard of afternoons come from. And here's the one rule that actually makes this work. Write it down after. Not a whole journal. I'm not asking you to become a diary person. Just one line. What you did and one thing you noticed. The reason this matters is that the act of noticing and recording is what tells your brain that counts and keep it. You're basically manually doing the thing your kid brain did automatically. At the end of the month, you'll have 4 lines. 4 distinct days, and I'm telling you right now, that month is going to feel longer in your memory than the 3 months before it combined. You'll have actually lived it instead of letting it slide off. One more thing, because I know how this goes. The obstacle is never going to be money. That's never going to be time. The obstacle is the new thing that requires you to break the comfortable pattern. Comfortable patterns are extremely hard to break because they're comfortable. That's literally what makes them a pattern. The couch is right there. The phone is right there. The same 6 meals are right there. Novelty asks you to get up, and getting up is annoying. So you have to decide in advance, you have to actually put it somewhere. A note, a reminder, a text to a friend that locks you in because I'll do something new this week with no plans. Turns into a blurry week every single time. Trust me, I've done that version. It doesn't work. I also want to gently point out what you're trading because it's the same trait from every one of those conversations. Default life, same route, same meals, same apps, same couch, isn't free. It costs you your sense of time. It costs you the feeling that your one life is actually long and full and made of distinct days you can look back on. You're paying for the comfort with your memory of being alive. And most people are paying it without ever noticing the change. The same way money leaks out of an account in tiny invisible amounts. Your time is leaking out in blurry weeks, and you get almost nothing back for it. The good news is that it's one of the easiest things in the world to fix. You can start this week. You already have everything you need. You have a town you haven't fully explored, a food you haven't tried, a person you keep meaning to see, a thing you've always wanted to learn. The only thing standing between you and a month that actually feels like a month is the decision to break pattern 4 times. So, let's make it concrete, because inspiration without a next step is useless. Right now, before you close this, do 2 things. 1, pick your week 1 novel thing. The easy one. Say it loud, or better, text it to a friend so you've committed it. 2, put a repeating reminder in your phone once a week for 4 weeks that just says, do the new thing. That's it. That's the whole setup. And now you've built the entire system in under 2 minutes. And then just watch what happens next month. Watch how you can suddenly remember Tuesday. Watch how it starts to feel like the summers used to feel. Back when you weren't rich and you weren't traveling the world, you were just a kid doing something for the first time and letting your brain save it. That's really all it ever was. Novelty. That's why summers were so long. And the wild part is that nobody took it away from you. You can have it back basically whenever you decide to. So, tell me in the comments what the most recent, genuinely new thing you did, and how well did you remember it? And be honest, when's the last time a whole week blurred together on you? I read these, and your commenting might be the thing that gets someone else to finally break their pattern this week. If you got something out of this, you know the deal. Subscribe, drop a like, all of that. But more than any of that, I actually want you to go do the week 1 thing. That's the only part that matters. See you guys.